Why I'm afraid of worm. The hole in my backyard. It started when I was 9. That summer was brutal, hot, humid, the kind of air that clung to your skin like a second layer. My parents had just moved us into an old house in the countryside, a place with a backyard that stretched into thick woods. The house had been abandoned for years before we moved in. My mother liked to say it was full of potential, but even as a kid, I could feel something off about it. The air inside always felt damp. The walls had dark stains no amount of scrubbing could remove, and at night I could swear I heard things shifting inside them. I spent most of my time outside, exploring the overgrown backyard. That's when I first saw it. A hole. It wasn't like an animal burrow, it was too perfect. A smooth, dark tunnel in the ground, about the size of a dinner plate. The edges were damp, the soil freshly disturbed, and the inside seemed endless. I don't know why I was so drawn to it. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe something wanted me to notice it. Either way, I leaned in and shined a flashlight inside. The light didn't reach the bottom. Something moved down there. Something took the stick. I should have left it alone. Instead, I grabbed a long stick and poked it into the hole. I expected to hit dirt or rock, maybe scare out a rabbit, but no. Something wrapped around it. Not fast, not sudden, slow. Deliberate. I felt it slide along the wood, curling, tightening. It wasn't fur, it wasn't paws, it was wet, slippery, alive. I pulled back, but the stick wouldn't come loose. Then in one smooth motion, it was yanked from my hands. I didn't wait to see what took it. I ran inside, locked the door, and refused to go back outside until morning. But that was only the beginning. Worms in the walls. 3 nights later, I woke up to a strange noise. Not the usual creaks of an old house settling. Something wet, a soft, slithering rustle coming from inside the walls. At first, I thought it was mice, but mice don't move like that. The next day, I pressed my ear against the wall. Something moved on the other side. Not fast, slow, deliberate, waiting. That night, I heard it again. Only this time, it wasn't in the walls, it was under my bed. The worm in my bed. I froze, heart hammering, and slowly lifted the covers. Something was there. It was black, thick, pulsing. Its body coiled around my thigh, its skin slick and glistening. I could feel it contracting, squeezing. I screamed. I kicked wildly, tumbling out of bed, scrambling to turn on the light, and when I did, it was gone. No worm. No slime. Just the sheets, soaked in something cold and foul-smelling. My parents didn't believe me. They thought I had a nightmare. I started sleeping with the lights on after that. It didn't help. The holes spread. A week later, I looked out my window and saw more holes. Not just one, dozens, scattered across the yard, gaping black voids in the earth, some as small as my fist, some big enough to swallow me whole. I ran to my parents, but when they looked, the holes were gone, as if they had never been there. But that night, as I lay in bed, I heard it, digging. Deep beneath the floorboards, something was coming closer. They were waiting. The final night in that house, I woke up to something new. Not rustling, not whispers. Breathing. Heavy, wet, right beneath my bed. The air smelled rotten, damp, like dirt and decay. Something pressed against the mattress from underneath. A slow, shifting weight. I didn't move. I barely breathed myself. Then the bed tilted. Just a little. Just enough for me to feel it. Something was trying to pull it down. I jumped out of bed, flipped on the light, and backed against the wall. And for a split second, just before the light flooded the room, I saw it. A hole. Opening in the floor. Moving. Growing. Something wet sliding back into it. And then it was gone. Like it had never been there at all. They're still waiting. We moved the next day. My parents said it was because my dad got a job in another state. I didn't care why, I just wanted to leave. I never spoke about what happened, but sometimes at night I still hear it, that wet, slithering sound, like something buried just beneath the floor, like something waiting for me to dig too deep. And I know that if I ever do, they'll come back. And this time they won't let me go.